Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share some astrology and tarot with you. Today is Friday, April 7, 2023, and the sun is in Aries. The moon is in Scorpio, waning gibbous moon in Scorpio. Aries and Scorpio, both planets ruled by Mars, so it's about how we assert ourselves, sometimes in really external, direct, fiery, driven ways, and sometimes in more internal, curious, and sort of power moves ways. So that's a great vibe today. Of course, I love the Mars vibes. I love the sense of initiative that comes with them, being a fire sign myself. And of course, today we are looking at the Three of Wands as the card that sits on the side of the page. It's here because it corresponds in astrology with the second 10 days or the second decan of the sun's transit here in the land of Aries. Aries is a fire sign. Wands and tarot are fire element symbolism. And again, fire element symbolism is about that action, energy, spark, drive, initiative, the desire to accomplish things, the desire to get moving and take care of business. So that's really good stuff to have on our side at this time. And the Three of Wands itself is a card that's it's really about watching your plans unfold. So with the Two of Wands, we were making plans. We were sort of discovering what it was that we might be able to do with what we have and what we know. And with the Three of Wands, you've sort of unfolded those plans, which is another accomplishment that you've made. I think of those wands a lot like accomplishments, like little trophies or achievements unlocked, right? So, you've unlocked the achievement of getting this plan underway, your next big plan underway. You can kind of like see off in the distance, you can see the culmination of that plan coming to you. Like I've laid it out in such a way there's no way I can miss. Right. And as you're watching the plan unfold before you, as you're watching things sort of fall into place, then you can look ahead a little bit. There's a little foresight with this card that says, I can see ahead of me like the obstacles I may have to avoid or deal with. I can see ahead of me certain benefits I might be able to take advantage of as I get to where I'm going. So this is a very confident time because we can see ahead. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. We know where we're going and how we're going to get there and what might even get in our way. So, that's a very positive, driven sort of place to be. It's a very confident sort of place to be. And if you're there, if you've got a plan that you're unfolding and it, maybe you don't know exactly how it's going to turn out, but you know you have a goal in mind and you feel like you're doing all the good things to get there, then, congratulations, here you are at the Three of Wands, right? Okay, and so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn over these cards. I got a whole new deck of Aquarian tarot cards because I lost a card out of my other Aquarian tarot deck, and I love this. I love this particular deck. So we got the High Priestess today, so that's really interesting. It's good news. The High Priestess is... this is making me think immediately of the Scorpio moon. So this is a major arcana card. It's a figure, maybe it's the third card in the major arcana after the Fool and the Magician. You get the High Priestess. And this is a person who is deeply in touch with the instinct and the intuitive part of being human, okay? This is a person who has been initiated into certain mysteries and who sees deeply, who can see sort of, it's almost sort of a psychic vibe. It's about listening to what your feelings are telling you about what's going on. And, this person can seem a little sort of distant and aloof. This person is a little bit of a gatekeeper to those mysteries. This curtain behind the High Priestess has pomegranates on it. So this is a symbol of fertility, but it's also a symbol just of mystery, especially a feminine mystique, right? It's funny, that would be sort of like women's intuition or something. And I don't think that necessarily just applies to women. I think it's just, being able to be in touch with who you are on the inside and also being able to understand that you can trust what your instincts and your intuition are telling you. So the High Priestess is our friend. In terms of the fact that this is a person who holds information for us. This is a person who's here to lend guidance when we need it. You know, as long as we can come to this person with respect, you know, as opposed to the magician, which is very sort of action oriented, very sort of pulling things together. You know, I have all the external tools I need at my disposal to create the external things that I'm trying to create. This is a person who has all those things on the inside, and they have sort of all the internal tools that they need to create whatever it is that they want to create in terms of spiritual and moral support, but also just in terms of guidance. So the High Priestess, we see some deep waters here, right? It's very Moon and Scorpio kind of vibes. So that's really what I'm seeing for the High Priestess, is, you know, this very internal vibe. It's powerful, it's curious, it can have kind of a prickly attitude. And that comes from, like, you know, I'm being internal, and then people come along and want to ask me questions about the external world, and I'm like, wait, I'm working on something, right? You know, I'm really deep in my thought and deep in my intuition and instincts now, right now. And you want to ask me, you know, like what grocery store we're going to, right? So that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of attitude you get from Scorpio, especially from Scorpio Moon. Scorpio placements is a little bit prickly, a little bit like, don't ask me to deal with stuff that, you know, that isn't, you know, internal, that isn't the stuff I'm already working on. And you see this person sort of deep in contemplation, right? They think about things. They really give what's going on inside their information. They give what's going on inside their attention more than what they give what's going on outside, right? So Moon is having several conversations today. Like I said in the other video, it is in opposition today to Mercury, which is conjunct to the North Node. So that tells us that the Moon is conjunct pretty much to the South Node here. South Node is, you know, karmically who we have been in the past. It's things that come easy to us, things that we've already learned how to do. They're skills and ways of being that we can lean on when we, you know, when we need to, but they're not the skills, and they're not the skills that we're supposed to continue leaning on our whole life, right? That's what's behind us. We have a trajectory in this life. We have a set of goals, and that's our North Node. And that's collectively too right now. You know, we have stuff that comes easy to us at this time. Hopefully, you know, that contemplative sort of mystery mind, that sort of getting deeper into our sense of faith, but also just deeper into our sense of trusting ourselves and trusting, you know, what our senses are telling us. And that's something that we can lean on. I think that, you know, a lot of us have gotten more involved in sort of the intuitive work and just, you know, like trying to sit with ourselves a little bit more and become more aware of what's going on inside ourselves, especially over the last few years. But then opposite that is Mercury and the North Node. And the North Node is like our collective trajectory. Right now it's in Taurus. So it's saying, what work am I doing? What can I do to drive myself toward a better, you know, a better or just a solid sense of support, a foundation of material security in my life. And that's very much what the conversation is for us about right now, because Mercury is right there conjunct. It can feel a little intense to be having that conversation. And, you know, in opposition, we might be a little conflicted about how we're feeling about it as opposed to what we're doing about it, right? So that's that. And then the Moon is also trying to Mars. The Moon is in a grand trine actually with Mars and Saturn. I meant to say Saturn. Moon is trying to Saturn and Mars and Saturn are trying to one another. So we've got that nice grand triangle there. We've also got, you know, a full kite here on the page, if you see that. And this is saying, you know, the Mars trine, Saturn is like, you know, we've got a lot of action and energy and purpose, and we're putting it toward that sense of wanting to make sense out of things, of wanting to make material those things that we have imagined, you know, even wanting to materialize ideal circumstances for ourselves. We have a lot of ease and grace and capability to do that right now, as long as we don't try to be too direct. Mars in Capricorn, Mars likes to go forward, not Capricorn. Mars likes to go forward, Cancer likes to go around. Okay, so it can be frustrating, but Mars is also sextile with Mercury today, and Mercury is sextile with Saturn. So there's that whole kite shape. We've got this grand trine, which gives us these blessings of really, being invested like personally on, on an internal level in the work that we're doing to try to materialize our ideal circumstances, right? And then, this sort of push and pull between how we feel and what we're talking about in terms of our trajectory toward getting what it is that we want. We have some really positive vibes on our side. There might be a little push and pull here, but it's an opportunity to find balance between how we feel and what we're actually doing to try to create a positive, supported material circumstance for ourselves. So that's the moon having lots of conversations, mostly really positive ones. There's a challenging one here with Pluto for a short time today. The moon in Scorpio, answering to Pluto anyway, because Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto. Mars traditionally, Pluto in the modern astrology. So this Capricorn and Scorpio vibe, a little bit of a challenge there, a little bit conflicted. You see, it makes a whole T-square, so Pluto is also square to Mercury. This is all meant to set us into motion. This is all meant to give us reasons to act on these things that we're trying to manifest in terms of creating reality out of things that we idealize, of creating reality, creating like material support for ourselves, just out of, what our intuition is telling us, what our gut is telling us is going to work for us. And put together here with the Three of Wands, I see, this is sort of an anticipation vibe, right? Like I've got my plans underway and I am able to anticipate what's going to happen next. And that's a really, that's a really confident place to be in when we think we know what's going to happen, right? When we feel certain we know how the day is going to go, what's going to unfold, when we don't think there'll be any surprises. That's a really positive and confident place to be. And, that's the Mars trajectory, right? That's also the Mercury conjunct. That's also the North Node trajectory. Not that this is an Earth vibe at all, but just the ability to accomplish things so that we can find that material security that we're looking for. But the Three of Wands with the High Priestess really looks to me like, don't just go with what you can externally see is happening. As your plans are unfolding, you can practically look ahead and say, oh yes, I'm going to need a license for this, or I'm going to have to pay a fee to do this, or I'm going to have to, make a shift in my trajectory here to go around this obstacle. Those are externals, and they're absolutely worth noticing, but we also want to be a little reflective on the inside. We need to be thinking about, what our soft skills are in terms of negotiating this, right? Our ability to sort of talk to people, our ability to sort of relate to people, and just what our intuition is guiding us to do, which might have more to do with our relationships to people. It might have more to do with how we connect with others, and sort of there's a little bit of feeling your way forward that has to happen too. Okay, so definitely keep your eyes peeled, look ahead, watch the trajectory, watch the goal come into sight, but don't ignore what your intuition is telling you, because not all obstacles are visible, not all the benefits we could take advantage of are visible. Sometimes that's something that comes up intuitively, and you suddenly think, aha, I bet I could do this, and it would be of a greater benefit to me down the line. So listen to, trust your external senses, trust what you see, trust what you envision for yourself, trust that you are moving in the direction of your goal, but also trust your gut guidance and intuition. If something is telling you that like this matter seems a little too good to be true, or something is telling you that, an obstacle is going to show up where you didn't expect there to be, that's what the intuition is for, is to help us be prepared for things that we didn't foresee externally. And then one more thing I just want to say is that on Tuesday the 11th, the sun is going to be conjunct to Jupiter. And that is like the luckiest day of the year because Sun and Jupiter are only conjunct once per year. They are conjuncting in Aries this year. So there's a lot of, again, action, energy, initiative, sense of purpose, right? We're driven to achieve these things. And the Sun and Jupiter together, this is like, you know, your ambition and your sense of purpose in the world combined with your sense of your desire to grow, your desire to expand, to have bigger, better, badder experiences, right? To make more money, to get a higher education, to travel further, those kinds of things. So Jupiter is good fortune, and this is going to be our most fortunate day of the year. So, you know, during these days, running up to it, and then on Tuesday and for a couple days after that, really be engaged in practices, really be engaged in doing stuff that, you know, active, right? Aries, be actively engaged in doing stuff that you want to see multiply and expand in your life, and then watch it happen. Okay, friends, I think that's all I've got to say about it today. Thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I appreciate that because it helps me out a lot. And I will talk to you in the next video.